Listen, it's the middle of the night. My dreams have been popping off. This has been one wild weekend. Stick with me here. We're going to travel, but it's good, I promise. This is and still is a great weekend for dream work astrologically, to connect, to meet, to meditate, to open up. In other ways, I was doing that, and a woman that looked a lot like this came to me. I talked a lot about how I don't like Neptune. Get a lot of flack from that from other astrologers. I feel every astrologer has like a planet or an aspect that they're like, Louise tells me she doesn't. I do. And mine is Neptune. I don't like to be confused. It's the worst thing you can do to me. So I can take hard lessons. I can strip. I can die. Saturn and Pluto, I get you. But Neptune. But anyway, the woman in the dream told me that, hold on, I think I wrote it down and saved. This is the first thing I wrote when I woke up. Last night, an indigenous woman came to me in a dream. She called herself Keeper of Turtle Islands. You're America, she hissed, all wrapped in wind and bone. Fire flicked in her eyes as she whispered, I know Neptune's true form, the one who deceives you so. I braced for waves, for the rain and the fog, but she cackled. Neptune is not the sea here. White man makes him war. He comes in molasses, fog, and steel, not to sink, but to swallow. He does not drown your sons and daughters with waves, but with fear. Now, we connect Neptune with war, especially Neptune in Aries, which is where he'll dip in this year. Saturn in Pisces is when we see some, like, no boundaries of love of country and beliefs and who we are. Stick with me. We're going for a ride. I go further. The essence of Neptune, remember, the desire to go beyond the sense of self, of being a separate self and merge into something greater. There is no separation, okay? This is the U.S. Sibley chart. Not everyone uses this chart when they're talking about the United States. I mostly do, and now I always will. Something glaringly obvious about America lies in her chart. First of all, we know about returns, right? The cycles. America just experienced a Pluto return. People don't have Pluto returns because we don't live that long. Same with Neptune. Neptune's cycle is 165 years. So half of it is a Uranus cycle. That's important. Remember, Uranus is 80 years, and we've talked about the 80-year turning. The U.S. is currently going through a Neptune opposition, which is the furthest people can go in the Neptune cycle. Yes, the U.S. is in Neptune opposition. The thing that I've never really paid attention to in the U.S.'s chart is that Neptune Mars square. That is tight, baby. Mars is also at the 22nd degree. The Saturn, known as the kill or be killed, shit or get off the pot. Neptune, they have at the 23rd degree, which is the chaos, the change degree. But square is a Mars aspect. So Neptune and Mars, the planets that can indicate war and tension, are squaring, that have that energy of war and tension. This is the energy of America, changing ideas of boundaries. We like boundaries when it comes to others. We want ours to be infinite, expansive. And every time there is an important Neptune transit, we have seen it in American history. I found this chart online that is very helpful. 1776, when America was founded during, war, first Seminole War, okay? This is really interesting because this is when Andrew Jackson went beyond the borders of America and started a fight. 1856 is when Neptune was back in Pisces. 1856 is when Neptune and Jupiter were both in Pisces. Third Seminole War, the start of forced native reservations, the Transcontinental Railroad leading to the Civil War. In 1899, another square, Philippine-American War, Spanish-American War. My sister and I are going to talk more about the history and the cycle. America is in a Neptune opposition, which is the same kind of energy that we saw in the 1850s. Opposition, oh, we want to expand. Here's the thing, though. America is about to come into a Uranus return when he moves into Gemini. One of our last transits, usually as a live person. It frees us in a lot of ways. But listen, there's some really important dudes right now that have some very interesting aspects to look at, especially a Neptunal opposition. I love seeing this guy talk. He's been all over my feed. Bernie's got the Neptune opposition. He is coming in to his Uranus return along with America. Look at that. He's also going through a Jupiter return right now. What is interesting is when we were talking about Trump and Biden, it was like the Titan, the old titty baby. But these older guys that are having a Neptune opposition and a Uranus return, their Jupiters and Gemini, have been standing up and seem to hopefully hold a key to help us through. Oh, Bloomberg. Oh, there he is. Michael Bloomberg. We talked about him, right? He's a billionaire that said, listen, we're going to make sure America sticks with climate change. Oh, Neptune opposition. He's having a Uranus return right now in Taurus. And I wonder if that's why he's like, okay, look at that Jupiter and Gemini. Last guy I know off the top of my head is this old pope. He doesn't have the Jupiter and Gemini, which I think is always a big key towards healing conflict in America with that Mars at the 22 degree in Gemini. Uranus gets at 8 degree 9. This is about further expansion. I think they even want to colonize the water and space. That's why they want Canada, right? To be in control of the water. All that Cancer energy with Mars retrograding over it, rethinking, we want it all, right? Manifest destiny. We can make our destiny, spread west, create our dreams, right? Only for some of us. Someone who lives in Oklahoma, who is somewhere where had a lot of the Project 2025 people, and they are rolling out and obeying in advance, wanting to set an example, Trump's executive orders and follow. I am really nervous for the Native American community, especially in Oklahoma, but in all of America. I think this is going to, it's an attack on immigrants, but I really think it's an attack on everyone that's white, but it's also a way for them to attack Native Americans. For what they want to do to the world, they're never going to get away with it while Native Americans are here and fighting. That is why they want to get rid of the Native American, because they take care of the earth and see her as a creator and as a living thing, something to consume and conquer and discard. And the boys will never, ever be able to get to do what all they want to do with the natives still around. Kevin Stitt, our governor, has seemed to have like very much personal issues with Native Americans. Since the Supreme Court designated them sovereign and said that they had tribal lands, would deal with federal, our Oklahoma governor has been on. Also in Oklahoma, like, we didn't get established real IDs. If you're in Oklahoma, get a real ID now. I don't trust any of our people with that city of elders shit. I mean, that is Pisces North Node in the 29th, losing it, right? I'm hoping with Saturn approaching Neptune in the North Node in Pisces, we start to see some boundaries. I'm worried it's just those mofers putting the boot on our neck. I saw an ad that was like, you can adopt an adult to protect them, and that just made me feel very Flowers of the Killer Moon, like head rights. Push too far and say America is infinite, but then say that certain people aren't Americans, even if they were born here. Yeah, I get why I don't like Neptune, and I especially don't like it in American sense. America wants us to lose ourselves in this dream. This dream has been exploited for white men for cheap labor and money above all else. And now empathy is a sin. Pisces North Node at the 29th, we've lost our head. Empathy. I'm going to read to you a little bit about Neptune opposite Neptune. The transit Neptune opposite natal Neptune occurs when we are in our mid-80s and roughly coincides with the return of transiting Uranus to its natal placement. The negative manifestations of Neptune oppositions are all too obvious and common during this period. In line with Neptune's dissolving and weakening effect, our bodily processes run down and we become less resilient to illness. Energy diminishes as our physical organs wear out, making us slower and less flexible. We might be facing financial limitations or restrictions. Mental confusion may set in. We could suffer hallucinations and delusions, which puts us out of touch with reality around us. We might end up institutionalized or bedridden and totally dependent upon others. While some effects of aging are undeniably grim, it is still possible for many of us to use and understand this transit constructively. Personality is not the rule in old age. At this time, we have no choice but to disengage from many of our past activities. We are unlikely pursuing a career or raising a family. However, withdrawing our energy also means that we now have an opportunity to find other dimensions of experience. Age is not a period of decline. It offers a period of reflection, a time to look back on our lives with added insight. Comes a time for us to reflect what lies beyond us and what lies beyond